part. I like it.
If I don't have to be there, I really don't want to be there.
Right.
All right. Without further ado, let's bring her on. Minty Bets joining BBB for the first time. Hold on, I got to get it all set up appropriately. There we go on this. Move everything around so we're all clear. Minty, how are you on a Monday? Thank you for joining us.
Of course, I'm doing well. As sad as the hurricane is, by the way, I'm really enjoying the weather we've had in Las Vegas. Like away from the 1,000-degree heat, I actually enjoy the 70-degree, cloudy, cool, rain all day weather because we never get that here. So I'm doing really well.
All right. We're going to get to your trip. We're going to get to the UFC. We're going to get to a bunch of things here. But over the weekend, I tweeted something about mozzarella cheese and marinara sauce, and you chimed in that ranch is an acceptable option. I'm going to give you the forum and let you explain yourself to a lot of people. They're questioning a lot of things about you, Minty. Why is ranch an acceptable option for mozzarella?
Well, just a little background. I hate tomatoes, so I don't.
Wait. I need to ask this now. Raw tomatoes, cooked tomatoes, or anything with tomatoes. There's a big difference. Raw tomatoes, I cannot eat. I'm with you.
Yeah. That's it. Raw tomatoes. I can't. Okay. They always betray me. It makes everything sloppy and soggy, and it always gets on my shirt. Tomato sauce is cool, but I think I just need a little zest, and I think the ranch really zests the mozzarella sticks up compared to marinara sauce. Marinara sauce, I feel like I'm eating just like a plain cheese pizza, which I don't like. So I need a little zing.
Okay.
Nothing bad, but I also, for reference, I also only eat hot dogs with ketchup, and I know that's very controversial.
Oh my goodness!
So I feel like Matt is on board with me.
I am 100%. I'm on board. Now, for those of you who did not see the tweet, this is the tweet. Okay, sorry to block your face off, Minty, but this is what are these, Dave? I need you to explain what the hell those sticks are, because those are mozzarella triangles. Those are footballs we played with in math class. Playing football. That's what they look like.
Those are exactly those things. Yes, at the Omelet Cafe, the Sky Canyon location or the Summer location, right. Chef Iggy decided that mozzarella wedges were a little bit different, and they're perfect. They're better than sticks. Yes, so that's what those are. And I mean, the tweet was set
controversial.
It was very controversial. We're up almost over 100,000 impressions, and a lot of people chimed in from all over the world. And you weren't alone, Minty, but the server said, "Do you guys want ranch with that?" And I turned around and said, "Did anybody get a salad?" No, we don't need ranch. I didn't know that it was even an option. Apparently, the Midwest guys in the chat, girls in the chat. This is Minty. Put in the chat whether you think ranch is an acceptable option.
And not only that, but cheese curds, they eat that with ranch. And what is the difference between cheese curds and mozzarella sticks in the Midwest?
I don't know. I need a Wisconsin person because I've never had cheese curds because the name freaks me out. I can't eat it.
Oh, it is so good. It's like cheddar cheese nuggets. It's so good.
Yeah. It's a different.
Is it fried? Are cheese curds fried?
Yes. You're missing out, Matt.
Fry everything, man. I swear to God. It's just if it's there, they fry it. I mean, I have had a deep fried Twinkie before. So
delicious. I don't even like Twinkies, but those are so good.
The Iowa State Fair, go see the butter cow and deep fried everything. Literally whatever you can find, they drop it into a deep fryer.
Yeah.
Go ahead and eat it.
Which state fair can I go to where they deep fry everything? Would it be the Iowa State Fair? Oh,
and then the butter cow is literally sculptures out of butter, gigantic people, cows, athletes. Yeah, they are very proud of that.
You people in Iowa, what are you talking? Who would even think to do that, Matthew?
I don't know. I went every year. I was there 2 years. I went every year. It was like, you're going to the fair, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the fair. I'll go to the fair. I brought my brother. Colin came with me one year to have it. So he was eating everything on a stick, literally. Barbecue and everything else.
That's good. You got to live your best life. And it might be short, but you got to live your best life.
Well, speaking of best life, what about this trip that you went on? You went on this odyssey.
Yes.
Multiple cities. Where were you?
I did. I went on a southern road trip. So I flew to Jacksonville from Vegas and then drove up through Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia. Where else did I go? Oh, Knoxville. And then ended in Nashville. The the weekend of UFC Nashville. So it was really fun. I had never been to the South before. And honestly, I'm kind of secretly house hunting out there, and I really loved Nashville.
Really?
So
Yeah,
yeah,
Nashville is such a fun place.
it is so fun. And I'm
one of my
so
good
sick
friends
of
live there.
Vegas. You know, I'm like born and raised in Las Vegas, and I need a change of scenery. So the South is a nice, slower pace. And I really don't take advantage of the city of Las Vegas, like all the dining options and entertainment options. So, like, why should I live here? You know?
It's fair. I mean, Broadway and Second Avenue in Nashville are just two extremely fun places to go and really cool environment. It's a fast growing city. It's very similar. I've said to Dave before, there's 3 cities in America outside of Boston that I love, that I would love to live in. New Orleans is 1, Nashville is 2, and Vegas is 3. So they're all very similar size. They're all very similar in terms of culture and things to do. And you can get pretty much anything you want, and you can fly anywhere you want as well, which is a huge deal. I lived in the South. I lived in Alabama. I lived in Virginia. It's hard when you're living in Huntsville, Alabama, to find a direct flight anywhere.
Yeah, you're so right. And Nashville has that like sweet spot of like times when sports start. It's like centrally located. You can go west and east, and it'll take like the same amount of time. Also, a lot cheaper going out in like Nashville and New Orleans than Vegas. So
that's very true.
There's a couple guys already saying Minty will take you in Charleston. They're in the chat. They said Charleston, South Carolina. Did you like Charleston, South Carolina?
I loved it, but I was sweating so much. I was not prepared for the humidity. My makeup just melted away. My hair, I curled my hair, and then it just straightens in the humidity. So I'll go in the winter.
Did you like Savannah?
It was gorgeous, but I only had lunch there and then went to Charleston. So it was beautiful.
See, I'm trying to tell Dave we're going to go to Charleston and Savannah, because those are my 2 favorite barbecue spots in the South. I'm a very big fan of the food and cuisine of both Charleston and Savannah, Georgia. So
I'm talking about it for months.
Yeah.
I
did not have a bad meal in the South, and I ate a fried chicken sandwich every day. By the way, the South knows how to fry chicken, guys. So don't miss out on the chicken by eating too much barbecue.
Did you do the Nashville hot chicken? Did you go that route?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I highly recommend a place called Puckett's. Not sponsored, by the way, but we could get Puckett's to sponsor us.
We'll take it.
But yeah, super good. Puckett's, a classic place.
Where was that? In Charleston? Where was Puckett's?
It is in Nashville. And I'm sure they have some in Knoxville as well, but I think it's mostly in Nashville, and it's like a family restaurant.
Interesting. Did you like Knoxville?
Loved it. My husband didn't like it so much. He said it was older, but I actually really like Knoxville. And I was, I don't know if you gentlemen know who Morgan Wallen is, but he's from East Tennessee. And I just thought of, if me and Morgan get hitched one day, we would just live there, and I could see it.
The funniest thing is that Morgan Wallen just played Fenway Park, and to watch all these kids and all these people in New England put on their country stuff and start singing Morgan Wallen, like, ain't that some shit, and start talking about country. I'm like, this is the funniest thing in the world. Like, these are a bunch of Boston guys running around talking like they're country. They know nothing about country. I didn't either until I lived in the South, but he just blew out Fenway Park. So yes, you'd like him, Dave. He's good.
He's very good.
It always comes back to Boston, Minty. He always, the name of the show is Bostonian versus the book, and somehow he works the Patriots, the Red Sox, or something Boston into all this. Speaking of Boston, the UFC was just in Boston. What did you take away from that UFC? Anything? Because, I mean, you're doing a great job on the show. You're doing all this stuff. We're all big fans of it. But what did you what was one takeaway you took away from that event on Saturday night in Boston?
I guess overs were the play here, and I had every fight I bet on to end inside the distance. So yeah, I'm going to stay away from totals for a while. Is what
Except
I'm
the main event.
Except the main event.
The main event.
Yeah. Well, I had Aljo inside the distance. So
who didn't have Aljo? Everybody. I mean, that was a common play. Were you surprised? I was
shocked. I'm still shocked to my core, because I do believe that if Aljo had missed that shot by O'Malley, I think Aljo could have won. But I'm not the kind of person to like linger on a fight and be like, he got robbed, and if this happened, this would have happened. I accept it. I think O'Malley is a phenomenal fighter. He's so exciting, and I think he's really great for the brand of UFC, for the young fans and for the new fans. Like, O'Malley is the exciting, explosive fighter that we all believe, if you're a new UFC fan, to be UFC. It's an exciting mixed martial arts combat sports.
Yeah, the punch was incredible because he practiced it so often, and it is reminiscent of what Conor did to Jose Aldo when he just caught him clean coming in. And look, I thought the stoppage was good. I thought it might have been a little early, but not extremely early. It's a title fight, so sometimes you like to see if the champ can recover. But he was definitely rocked. He definitely didn't know where he was. His head was, eyes was rolling back into his head a couple of times.
Yeah.
What do you make of O'Malley's future? Because he's always been arrogant, cocky, Connor Jr., if you will. But now he's got the belt. The next morning, he's saying to himself, smoking a joint in front of a mirror, saying, I am the man. Where does his stock go from here now that he is the champion and he can say, yes, he is the man?
Well, let's just say he's no longer going to be an underdog anymore, especially one that big. I don't think we're going to see O'Malley as a plus money dog in a while, but I guess that depends who he goes after. Now, as for like defending the belt and retaining it, I don't know. I'm still not sold on O'Malley. I think he really is the kind of fighter who looks for obviously like the big impactful shots. And I don't think he's always going to find it. And O'Malley, we know to be a finisher and an exciting finisher. So I don't know. I'm not sold on O'Malley yet, but maybe just because I'm a little salty that, I lost big on Aljo.
You weren't wrong, though. I mean, because I think the handicap was there. It was basically, that's why I bet the under, because it was either going to be a submission by Aljo or a knockout by O'Malley. So I didn't think the fight, and I was surprised. We talked about it last week, Minty. The Vegas number was 4.5 from a round total perspective, but the East Coast books were at 3.5, and there was a big discrepancy in price, too. So I think everyone assumed the fight was going to go relatively quick, but I thought Aljo just in the first round, I was mad because I thought, oh my gosh, he predicted a first round knockout of O'Malley and he actually went for it instead of using his biggest advantage, which was trying to take him down. Obviously the backtrack is that, well, he had to go ahead, he'll get hit on the way in. And so he was afraid of that. But were you surprised that Aljo didn't wrestle more?
Yeah, I am. And not only did Aljo not wrestle, but if you go earlier to the prelims, the Petrosky and GM3 fight, I thought was going to be on the ground way more, but it was just a stand-up fight between those two. And it was really painful because I had Petrosky. I originally liked GM3 though, so that was really close. But yeah, I think I liked Aljo because he offered more ways to win. He was just more skilled than O'Malley, had more experience. But I guess the 9 straight victories, it had to end somehow, someday. And they just picked this past Saturday to end it.
How did you get into UFC? Like, because it's so like, it's not that like you can't like certain things, but you're a girl, you're a mom, like I'm a dad, I have 3 girls. And how did you say, this is cool, I like this, I'm going to start doing content bets and all this other stuff because I can't get the kids into it? I'm just curious, how did you get into it?
It honestly, and I speak for the public bettors and I speak for the new bettors and the fans. I didn't get into UFC until 2020 when UFC was the only sport to bet on. So I had to shift my focus to combat sports, which obviously I know nothing about and I have never trained in combat sports. So yeah, it was really hard to learn and I'm still learning every day. Just like I've been betting baseball for years since I was 21. I'm 30 now. I still learn every day about how I can improve betting on baseball, betting on the NFL. And I think people don't really talk about that in the betting community, is that even though you've been betting for decades, you can still learn new things and it's okay to ask questions and it's okay to make mistakes and have losing streaks. But yeah, UFC is a very difficult sport to bet on. It's definitely different compared to team sports. And when I first watched, UFC for real in 2020, I couldn't watch an entire fight. I was so scared, closing my eyes.
Blood.
But now I absolutely love it. And I'm yeah, hit harder, so I'm just.
Do you like boxing too, or do you prefer UFC to boxing?
Oh, no, I definitely love watching too. Oh, no, I don't like boxing that much.
Okay.
I think it is a very skilled sport, but it's just never been for me. And for me, as a woman who's never played sports growing up, I have no connections to boxing. As for UFC, I have a connection because I had to work in it and I actually fell in love with it. And same with NFL. We didn't have an NFL team growing up in Vegas, but the Raiders, they're part of me now because they're in my hometown. So that is my connection to NFL and, all that stuff. So as a woman not growing up watching sports or playing sports, I have to have a connection to the team or to the sport in order to enjoy it and bet on it.
Minty, when you're watching some of the lower levels, like both tough finals, the two fights that happened on the prelim were both incredible fights. The Bragatona fight was ridiculous. That was one of the best fights. My boxing coach, the guy who really got me into boxing, was Stephan Bonner, and I got kind of depressed afterwards because obviously he passed away recently. But that was I harkened back to the Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner fight, where it's just a legendary two guys fighting for contracts. They both got contracts, which was good. But when you're watching the Contender Series and some of the other lower level Apex type fights, how do you like the fact that you're involved in those types of events? Because I feel like your knowledge of the sport and the whole company grows so much faster when you're paying attention to those level sports, those level fights.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started watching UFC, obviously I just focused on the big names. I was like, well, if I've never heard of this guy's name, why am I going to watch and bet on it? But in fact, the lower level, like entry level fighters are actually some of the best fights and the lines that are the most overlooked. So you can actually make the best bets and the most money with the guys who are, I mean, they're their UFC debuts or they're just like 2-3 fights in. Like those are the best fights and they're overlooked, and you want to get at them and bet on them when they're just starting out. Because as we know, as they get bigger and they win more fights, the line's going to be so inflated and just like unbettable.
Is it too late during the night? There's a big complaint from me. I mean, we have a lot of people watching the show, and they're like, it starts too late. Is it a West Coast thing, like the East Coast time zone?
Just move to Vegas. Well, just come here.
Everybody can't move to Vegas, P-Roll. Stop telling everybody to move here. The traffic's bad
Minty's
enough.
gonna move to Nashville. She's gonna experience Central Time Zone, so she'll experience how late the fights go on because we get it. I mean, 9:30 here is perfect. It's great, but on the East Coast,
but like seriously. It's late back east, and people are up tweeting and watching and stuff, and you were back there in Nashville for an event. Is it too late? Do we need to start it a little bit earlier?
Look, that's so funny because I spoke to my husband about this the other day, and I was like, do you think they're ever going to make fights and games start earlier to cater to the East Coast? And I don't think so, because I actually really love our time zone. And I do think like some games and fights start early, like college football starts at 9 a.m. here. And that's insane. As for the fights, I think it is perfect. I wouldn't mind it starting even later because I'm a night owl and I want to watch it until like midnight or so. So maybe this is a good thing that if I'm moving to the Central Time Zone and it'll start later. I do feel bad for East Coasters though, because the main event didn't start till like 1 a.m.
Yeah,
I can't imagine going to work or going to school the next day and like having it end in 1.5 rounds,
Yeah, it's late. I mean, look, they want the most buys for pay-per-view, obviously, right? So the later, the better that it goes. But I was telling Dave, like when Dana goes back to Boston, he always brings a card that's going to be outstanding. Yes. What'd you make of the co-main? I thought the co-main was really interesting. I have no idea how that fight didn't end inside the distance because I'm with you. I bet Weili and I bet inside the distance, and I was stunned that went to the cards.
I was shocked. Every round, I was telling my husband, I was like, there's no way this is going to the cards. There's no way. Zhang looked incredible as always. I mean, she is such a powerful fighter. And Lemos, I actually was a little nervous to bet on Zhang because I think Lemos could have upset Zhang. And yeah, my bet was for this to not go the distance, and it sucked. But I think that fight was phenomenal. I mean, I was gassed out after like the second round just watching them. But Weili, amazing like position switches and level changes. She's so quick. She's got such high fight IQ. Her strength is off the charts. And Lemos, you can't overlook this, even though she wasn't able to successfully defend most of those takedowns. I mean, she was a beast defensively, fending off the submissions and the knockouts. So I very much enjoyed it. I just wish my bet hit, but we knew Zhang was going to win.
Oh yeah, she was unbelievable. That I thought she was out at one point, and then she flipped a hold or something, and I thought she was going to submit her. That was impressive to watch. All right, last one for me before Matt gets one more in, maybe, and lets you go. We've been telling people for months the traffic here in Vegas has been just absolutely terrible. Are you a good driver? Or can you deal with traffic well, or are you one of these people like most of us that go, why are we sitting in this traffic and what is going on with our city?
Well, to be completely honest, I'm such a hermit crab and I live, I mean, I think Matt knows where I live. I live right across your daughter's school, like literally right across the street. So I don't leave that Summerlin area. I don't leave
You're so
Summerlin
lucky.
unless I have to. So I haven't been dealing with the traffic. However, I did hear that the strip is just awful because of the Formula One repaving. But it's really always awful anyway, in the strip area. As for drivers, I think there have been a lot of crappy drivers lately. It's just like speeding, tailgating, cutting you off, not using their signals. Like no one really drives safe anymore. And I don't want to be that Las Vegan who's like, yep, it's the Californians, but it is.
It is.
And I hate it. And that's also why I don't go out, is because I don't want to deal with all that road rage. But yes, I am a very good driver. Like I could drive for the Pope if he hired me.
Really?
I'm very safe, and I just jet around my Subaru all over town if I need to. But typically, I'm just home and I tell my husband to go get things if I need
to. We've got to work on the Subaru thing, Minty. Come on now. I rent on Subarus here on this town. It does work, but I have a very strong opinion on Subarus. Last question. You brought up F1. First question, why did you get into F1? And secondly, is Max Verstappen just going to win this race coming up in November? There's no point in even watching this thing because he wins every race.
Well, I wouldn't say there's no point in watching it. It is boring because Max Verstappen is just so dominant and such a fast driver with such a great car. And I do think he's going to win like every race for the rest of the year. However, in order to make money and bet on F1, you gotta look at the head-to-head matchups or the top 3, top 6, top 10 finishes. So that's how you're really going to make your money. Although we do wish that there was an upset in the race. I still hope. And as for F1, how I got into it, well, I think it was just during COVID. It was during COVID and I watched Drive to Survive. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I didn't know F1 was so big and so popular and that they raced in America. And also what really got me is a Thai driver named Alex Albon, who did race for Red Bull at one point. His career with Red Bull was cut short. Now he races for Williams with Logan Sargent, our American driver. And because I'm Thai and he represented Thailand, I just got hooked on it. That's my connection to that sport now, is because there's only one Thai driver in Formula One, and I think there has only ever been one, and that's him. So I'm just really proud to root for him, even though he's never won. And I just love the sport. It's so exciting. And once you get to know all the drivers from Drive to Survive and follow their social media pages, they're really exciting and really funny. And I feel like I know them almost.
Wow.
Minty,
let me ask real quick from the chat. Moonoff is here, and he said He said there's no chance that Minty is a night owl. What would you say? He said there is no chance, and he just wants you to clear the record for him. You can look right into the camera and talk to him directly.
When I say night owl, I stay up till midnight, maybe 1,
Okay,
that's not bad.
Night owl.
Yeah, but I also wake up at 6 a.m. So because my daughter wakes up at 6 a.m. So I really never sleep. So I only sleep 6 hours.
Amen to that. I know that life.
Yeah, but I mean, if you guys are familiar, when you've had toddlers and stuff, I mean, sleep was hard to come by. And when they finally went to sleep, when the kids finally went to sleep, you just wanted a couple hours to yourself to like woo-saw and clean the house or just watch TV. And that's what I do. That's why I stay up so late, is because I just need me time.
Amen to that. That is, yes, 9 to midnight. I completely agree. I'm the same way. Those 3 hours, I would not trade for anything. Those are my hours. Exactly. You're in sleep, my hours. Minty, let's do this again soon, all right? This was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Love you guys. And I'll be back on whenever you have me again.